I have accepted that this week I am simply a woman doing her best. Um, hello, hello. It's Friday. Um, I don't know where the week went. I say this every week, but I really don't know. I think the main things that I've been grappling with this week, not really grappling with it, just holding. The tension I've been holding is surrendering, allowing flow and alignment versus creating structure and systems and processes. And being able to hold both of those while also seeing the full vision of my long-term goals with Reverb Root. Um, yes, that has been what I've been thinking about. Every month I do a monthly reset and I write down what worked well during the previous month, what did not work so well, and what to do differently. And then at the end, I also pull some tarot cards and do some spiritual practices and everything. The biggest thing that I got from doing my monthly reset was realizing that my attempt to do the whole anti-goals thing, which I think was in video too. I said that I was anti-goals. I'm only focusing on flow and alignment, those things. Um, I feel like that was a pendulum swing. I realized in my reflection that it was really more of a pendulum swing to the other side, and that this whole process of building, and what I'm learning specifically during this period of time is that it's kind of like riding a bicycle, learning how to ride a bicycle. And if anyone has the experience that I did, it's really a struggle to figure out how to be able to steady in the middle. It's really, when you're learning, it feels very tenuous and really just angsty. I think when I learned how to ride a bike, I literally had like friends and family outside with me, and I tried so hard to figure it out with their help and all of their voices and like advice and everything that at the end, I basically, everyone just scattered and went inside, and I spent time outside by myself figuring it out. And that actually worked. And I thought about it and I realized that's literally, for the most part, how every life lesson that I've ever had to learn, um, skill, whatever, it has always been by taking some time away to sort it out by myself. I take the feedback and everything that I hear, and then I go away for a little bit and I sit with it all, and then I sit with myself and my own inner knowing, and then I figure it out. And so I feel like this process of holding the two, structure and systems and processes, and also holding surrendering to the outcome, not being attached to the outcome, really focusing on being aligned with my actions. Those two things I'm realizing work together in a very beautiful way to um, really help me reach my long-term goals. And so I walk back my statement from video two. I am not anti-goals. I am very pro flow and alignment, but I'm also pro creating the structures that are needed in order to hold the space for what I'm building. Um, yeah, so that is what I've been thinking a lot about. So you know, I've also, this is also a big, I thought that I could spend like, a few months detangling myself from like toxic productivity and hustle culture. But it wasn't until I sat and did some reflecting and thinking that I realized that so much of, like I still hold a lot of those limiting beliefs. And what's kind of insidious about it all, about hustle culture and productivity culture and, um, all of the advice you're given from gurus and who's who's, um, is that it's it's really a trap in a way, and in the sense that what I find is that I had this belief that if every single one of my goals was not big and audacious and scary to me, then it was not worthy and I was not doing enough. And I was not thinking big enough. While and because I would feel anxious when I would create these big, huge goals of, for example, like by the end of this quarter, I'm gonna have 3,000 like email subscribers. It's like an outcome goal versus a process goal. And I think that the fact that I have spent so much time knowing where I want to go, seeing it, like very clearly seeing down the road, and thinking that in order to get down the road, I had to create goals that were leaps to get me there, instead of like pacing myself like like a marathon. Um, I really created a lot of anxiety and like upped the avoidance of doing work at times and like the burnout cycle and all of that stuff. Um, and I find that even when I do the work, there is this tendency to be like, oh, well, I didn't get 3,000 subscribers, but I got 350. I didn't hit my goal, so, But thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't celebrate enough like the work that I'm doing, what's being built, the foundation that I'm laying. Um, and I am gonna try very hard to hold that tension and to release as much as I can all of the terrible, uh, terrible for me business advice, that I've picked up along the way for like the last however long. I mean, I feel like it goes all the way back to like college, people coming in to speak and give advice, and here's what I did, and you can choose. I am accepting the fact that I have a very clear idea of where I want to go, but I have to be okay wading through the fogginess of the how to get there, and be willing to try, at times fail. Um, and I thought that I had learned that lesson, but perhaps it's similar to like how life is. It's you think you don't necessarily like you're not a lot of times you're gonna find that a lot of times you're gonna find that you end up dealing with the same thing over and over again, but in a different way. And I think of it as kind of like an upward spiral. It's you're hitting the same kind of rung as you go up. And so for me, that is something I thought that I had conquered, and I'm still dealing with it. So all that to say, even those of us who have been putting in the work for years, there's still so much to learn and so much to work through and so much to release. And I'm really thankful that I realized that at this point. Um, it was very freeing to realize that I can have small goals throughout this journey and take small steps towards a long-term vision. And that those goals are still worthy of celebrating and being had. I don't have to take giant leaps, um, and set myself up for potential um, disappointment. That was a ramble. Yeah. So I can hold myself to my process goals and release myself from outcome goals. I can give myself goals of showing up daily, doing the thing that will lead to the long-term vision, and also be able to release myself from the outcomes, and my attachment to them, and just trust that by doing the work strategically, also looking, reiterating, iterating, pivoting, all of those things, the people who show up will show up. Yeah. So, what does this look like tangibly, given the insight that I've gained? Uh, I recently discovered something called the 12-week year, Well, where basically you map out 12-week sprints, essentially. I may not be describing this well, but basically what I gathered is you map out 12-week sprints, and the idea is that it's better to map out 12-week sprints than 52-week ones, because when you have a 1 year to plan and to reach a goal or to do tasks, you don't have that same level of urgency as you would if you just had 12 weeks. And so I'm doing a little bit of a hybrid approach. Let me pull it up. I'm usually not somebody who, like, usually I just go week to week and just say, okay, this week I'm going to do this week I'm going to do this. I do have a page, like a document where I have like my 1 to 10 plus year goals or kind of view. I'll probably talk about that because it's really not a strategy. It's not like a timeline, it's a time cone. And I read about this from the Harvard Business Review. So I might actually like include the link and maybe like a little like a little picture of a little screenshot of what this looks like. Because if I try to describe it to you, it may not make sense. And I don't know if I don't trust myself to describe it very well. Um, anyway, so I am doing a 12-week year hybrid approach where I have the quarterly goals, which is basically like the container that holds the direction that I'm going. So I'm picking like 2 to 3 broad focus areas. The three I've picked it are to build out the archive, continue doing that, to continue building out Dream Lab, like honing in on like really tightening up the framework and methodology and like it's all in my head, but I just needed to put it on paper. And having even just started this process this week, like I've already figured that all out and I feel really good about it. And then the third thing is because I deleted my social media, which I talked about in the last video, I need to create a solid foundation for building organic brand awareness without social media. So this looks like focusing on email lists, really going through my website and focusing on SEO and a few other things, other strategies. Also, like actually reaching out to people in real life, which I'm usually pretty good about, but I have to be even more intentional about it now. So yeah, and basically I've broken those down into weekly goals and monthly goals. The weekly goals, I've set the bar low enough to where I can do it even if it's like a bad week. So one of the goals, like weekly goals, is to post a building in public vlog or video every week. So, this week today's Friday. Obviously, I didn't record throughout the week, but the point is just to post. Posting on LinkedIn, I did keep my LinkedIn. I mentioned that for like strictly networking and things like that. A few other things. Monthly goals will revolve around really tracking monthly analytics, and then like emailing, continuing to do like 10 to 20 outreach emails for interviews. And then monthly reflections, and then building in sustainability. So I'm not burning myself out at the end of 12 weeks. So I will be able to, at the halfway point, I'll kind of figure out what's working, what's not, what do I want to let go, and where do I want to pivot. And then I also will be building in like um, at least 1 week per month that's like a lighter week where I don't plan meetings and things like that. So yeah, that is what that looks like tangibly. I think that that's a great kind of way to hold the two tensions. I'm creating the structure with the 12-week year hybrid approach, but I'm also surrendering the attachment to like the immediate results and just trusting the unfolding, because my responsibility is to do the work. What happens as a result, I can try my best to strategically put myself and Reverb and Root in the best position to get the results that I really would love. But I'm accepting the fact that I can't force people to just like to love the brand, or that's something that's going to happen organically. And then yeah, overall keeping like my long-term vision for the company in mind, um, so that I can continue directing my energy and actions and strategy and all of that, ethics, values, towards that long-term vision. So that is what's been happening this week. Um, yeah, if I think of anything else, I will make a follow-up video. Okay.